I think for so many of us, our point of reference for the best fragrances are in the Parisian artisanal realm of fragrance. But Fulton and Roark really exemplifies that fine American fragrance brand. And I'm here to talk about 5 of their fragrances that I personally love. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. Here on my channel, I love all things affordable fashion, beauty, and fragrance. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, dedicated videos on particular fragrance houses, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. All right, you guys. So I have, in the last couple of months, really fallen for this fragrance house, Fulton and Roark. And I did a little bit of research, just really reading like their about page on the website and trying to get a feel of what their kind of mission is, you know, what really drives their brand. And what I realized in reading up on them is that they really want to be kind of that pinnacle of a fine American fragrance brand. And I think that's really awesome, very aspirational. Like I said, so many of us, when we think the best fragrance houses out there of our time, that a lot of them stem from, you know, the Parisian culture, and it can be right here in the United States as well. And so Fulton and Roark also, I think very interestingly, they have a whole page on where they source a lot of their materials and their notes, and that was fascinating to me. So let me read a few of them to you. I promise I'll get into the fragrances, but for any of my fragrance nerds out there, I personally thought this was very, very interesting. And also for anyone that sustainability is very important to you on where you're purchasing from, they really, really focus on that sustainability element to their brand. So the origin of some of their sustainable ingredients: cardamom, Guatemala; vetiver, Haiti; cedarwood, Virginia, USA; elemi, Philippines; styrax, Honduras; patchouli, Indonesia; cistus labdanum, Spain; orange, Brazil, USA, Mexico; clearwood, Brazil; cinnamon, Sri Lanka; and Siberian pine, Russia. And then you can click on each one and learn more about the sourcing of their sustainability ingredients. And I just found that very fascinating, very transparent. And, you know, for some people out there, when you're gonna put your money on a pricier product, like these are more expensive fragrances, you guys. I'm always upfront. These are $205, their regular price. These are Extraits, they're very long lasting. The ingredients are quality ingredients that I think it's important to be transparent like that and know, okay, where do these come from? Why are your fragrances so much more expensive than some of the other ones out there? Like, they're not getting these notes off of AliExpress, you guys. These are sourced from all over the world, and I love that it's right there on their website if you guys want to look it up and look more into that. I actually think their discovery sets are pretty reasonable. $30 for 5, $6 a piece. In the world of fragrance sampling, especially when you get up there to $200+ full-size bottles, sometimes you're paying $13, $14 for a sample. So I think averaging out or coming out to $6 a piece is really good. And then also you get a $30 coupon that can be used towards a full-size bottle if you purchase a discovery set. So $175, honestly, these days is kind of right in the middle. And interestingly enough, I did just see this statistic or like a graph showing that anything between about, I think it was $50 and $200 is kind of considered the mid these days. Anything less is, you know, the more inexpensive, and then the luxury is 200 plus. That mid zone has been almost just going away. Like the consumers are going for either super cheap or super high and expensive. And a lot of these brands are kind of following the path of the purchasing. And to get this, like I said, $175 if you use a coupon is actually, it's pretty normal average now, but it's starting to go away. Like, you're gonna pay a ton or a little. So I think their pricing is actually pretty fair for what you are getting, but I'm always real with you guys, and I understand that is a hefty price for some of you guys. And that's also, I think, why sampling and discovery sets are really, really important. All right, you guys, I am getting into the fragrances. I know some people say I ramble and I talk too much. I would rather be extremely thorough and lose those people than to be too cursory and you guys don't trust me. So if I'm not for you, I'm not for you. But what I love about this brand is it really creates a mood. There is a particular vibe to each one of these fragrances that puts me in a certain place and time, environment, setting, and I just love that about them. So Calle Ocho, I believe, is inspired by Little Havana in Florida. That is like the Cuban culture in Florida. Like a lot of them have moved over there. A lot of people in that part of Florida are from Cuba. And so you have a lot of vibrancy and like the smells of the foods and the culture. And I think this one, to me, is so beautiful. It has been compared a lot to Angel Share. And I'll say right now, some people don't love that about this fragrance, or they think like, oh, it's just a copy. Like, why are we duping Angel Share and it's a $205 fragrance? Even though it shares a lot of similarities and I do think it smells similar, I think this is done better. I think it's smoother. I think it's richer. I think it's deeper. I love Angel Share. I own Angel Share. I own a bunch of dupes of it. When I first smelled it, I thought it was a masterpiece. The more and more I have smelled it, worn it, my nose has smelled all kinds of things, I realized that there is something not as seamless about that fragrance, not as smooth, still beautiful. There's almost like a little synthetic thing going on in there. And I just think all of that is eliminated from this, and it is just beautiful. Now you have some cinnamon in here, you have some chocolate, you have rum, tobacco leaf, there's some labdanum, I believe some sandalwood, night blooming jasmine, and I just think every note in here is doing its part so well. It's not too boozy, it's not too bitter chocolatey. The cinnamon doesn't, just blast and like tickle your nose where it's too much. It's just blended so well. And I think that tobacco leaf in here, sometimes tobacco for some people can just be a little too masculine. It can even go like almost like sickly sweet in a tobacco sort of sweetness way, but it's just balanced so well. It's so rich. It has this coziness to it, but also there's a little bit of vibrancy somehow with this. Like I can imagine wearing this, snuggle up in a blanket. I think it is more of a cold weather fragrance, fire going fall, winter time. But then this also kind of has, like, you want to be around people in this. It has like if you were at a party, like a holiday party, you'd want people to smell it on you. And it's got this sort of social vibe to it as well. So that duality of something kind of just private and cozy to yourself, but also a little bit gregarious at the same time. I think that interplay is so nice in this. I want people to give it a shot and not just write it off as another Angel Share dupe, because I think it's done better. Now, Cloudland was my very first full-size bottle. By the way, just have to be honest here, I was sent these fragrances, okay? These are gifted to me, but you guys are gonna always get my full honest opinions about these. If I did not like these, I did not believe in these, I would not be doing a video on them, or maybe I even would and would say, I don't like them, don't waste your money. But that's not the case here. I really do love these. But a friend actually sent me a few samples at first. That was my very first experience. And Cloudland was my favorite out of the ones that she sent. And then since then, I have smelled all of the rest of their library of fragrances. So Cloudland was the first one that said, yes, I would love a full size of that. And this one is such a beautiful and unique skin scent, because this smells like summer rain, like the aftermath or the hanging in the clouds, the rain. It doesn't really smell like rain is falling at the moment. It smells like impending rain or the 30 minutes after a rain soak of that sort of summer concrete, and maybe your skin is still a little bit damp later from getting the rain on you. And it's just so pretty. And it does evoke definitely a mood for me. This is cozy, but it's also a little bit mysterious, a little bit moody, almost a little bit somber, but not in an off-putting way by any means. It's still kind of an inviting, cozy fragrance in its kind of pensiveness. I wouldn't say sadness, but there's like a pensiveness to this fragrance. This is one I want to cuddle up with a book in front of the windows and just see the raindrops, you know, forming the little formations on the window pane. That's the type of fragrance that this is. There's a little bit of citrus at the top. There's definitely lots of musk going on in here, but it's very smooth. It's not that harsh white musk that can come off really sharp sometimes. It's smooth, and everything's blended so well with their fragrances, actually. There is jasmine in here. I believe 2 different maybe kinds of jasmine, like jasmine sandbach and something they call transparent jasmine. And I would say there's a hint. I think there's even ylang in here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't get a ton of floral, but if I do, transparent is a really good word for it. Like a sheer, ever so slight in the background. And then there's this crystal moss and those musk, a little bit of amber. So I feel like this also plays really nicely. Sometimes this smells warm to me and sometimes it smells a little cold, which I think makes it a year-round fragrance, truly. I can see myself wearing this dead of summer, especially if it's one of those kind of overcast summer days or like a rainy summer day. I could wear this, but then even like fall, winter time, I could see myself wearing this too. I just think it's one of the best unique skin scents, not like all the rest. Absolutely love Cloudland. All right, now the next 3, I actually still have the boxes because these are fairly newer for me, and I didn't throw these boxes away because they have notes on them, and I thought, oh, that's so helpful for filming the video. So I kept them. I'm not a big box keeper, so after this, I'll get rid of them. But if you're curious, this is what the box looks like. Pretty standard, normal. So this is Devil's Garden, and this is incense, juniper berry, cardamom, styrax labdanum, spiced lily, vetiver root patchouli, and forest moss. I was so surprised how much I loved this fragrance. Not that those notes aren't me, but I didn't know I'd love it as much as I would. And I would also say all of these are unisex. Maybe one of them I'm about to talk to might lean a little bit masculine, but I think all of these are pretty dead on unisex. With Devil's Garden, I get 2 different moods and settings here. Part of this makes me smell. Part of this, when I smell it, makes me think of a foggy, dreary woods, like Hocus Pocus. You know, like the opening of Hocus Pocus and flying over, you know, like the wooded trees and like mist curling around them. It's kind of spooky. I feel like mysterious and spooky, a little bit witchy almost. But then there's also part of this that's deserty to me, like dry and rocks, and somewhere off in the distance there's some incense burning. I get that as well, which I think is so neat, so cool. So this also kind of, to me, makes me think of fall, winter, if I'm gonna go that sort of spookiness from it. But then it's so dry that I think it's not heavy, where you could wear this in the summertime if that's your vibe as well. So I love the incense in here really, really sticks out. I think it's beautiful. Not that long ago, I talked about Le Monde Gourmand's Couple de Terre, and now that is a fragrance that is not expensive. That could be. It's incredible if you like that style of fragrance, that sort of niche, incensey, kind of like leather, of the earth, kind of minerally. It's so beautiful. This kind of gives me a little bit of a similar vibe, but I will say this does last much longer, as much as I love my Couple de Terre by Le Monde Gourmand. And that one's actually pretty long lasting for Le Monde Gourmand, but this is an extrait. It smells a little bit more expensive. Like you took that and you just amped up each one of the notes. I get a similar vibe from this fragrance. I just think this is gorgeous, exquisitely done. I could see it being one of my spooky season fragrances in a future video, but like, it just works right now too. I think a lot of men would like this fragrance, even though it really is dead unisex. I just think it's exquisitely done. I think this is an incredible, incredible fragrance. That is Devil's Garden. All right, next up we have Roark's Cove. And I think if more people got their nose on this, this would be a huge hit. To me, this is very, very crowd pleasing, but also very unique. So this is bergamot, cloudberry, pink pepper, pear leaves, oak, verbena, tonka bean, and lavender, cedarwood, tree moss, and amber woods. When I first smelled this, before I really knew the notes and didn't really look on the box, I thought this was sort of like an apple orchard fragrance. It does. It has this crisp, and I think that's probably the pear leaves. After I looked at the notes, I was like, oh, it's the pear leaves probably that I'm smelling. But this smells like the beginning of fall to me. If you were to go apple picking, I really get that from it. As it sort of settles down, some of that crisp fruitiness does wear off a little bit, and it just becomes a really beautiful kind of soft cashmere woody fragrance that is light, but sticks around. These are extracts, it sticks around, but it's just this kind of light, soft woods. I think the lavender is done to perfection in here. When lavender is done well, I love it. I love the aromatic quality that it brings. When it is done poorly, it comes across bathroom cleaner like, or bathroom air freshener like. This is done so smooth, so well. That tonka bean kind of just makes it this fluffy. It's just an aromatic, fluffy, soft cashmere wood after it dries down for a little while. And I think it is exquisite. I think it is beautiful. I think so many people would love this. I think women would love to smell a man that smells like this. I think a man would love to smell a woman, or interchange. Woman loves the way the woman smells. I don't care about that. It just is beautiful. I think more people need to get their nose on this one for sure. And that is Roark's Cove. All right, my last one is Ghost Trees. This is juniper, pink pepper, ocean ozonix, white cypress, Thalassogia. I'm not sure what that one is. Thalassogia florals. I think that's a category. I can't remember. I know I looked it up one time, and there's several different like flower classification. It's like a flower classification, and there's several flower families inside it. Okay. Salted Sea, Ghostwood, Elemi, and Driftwood. This is another one that makes me feel two different things. There's part of this to me, and maybe it's sort of the suggestiveness of ghost and trees, where I thought, ooh, this is another kind of witchy, like literally seeing like a glimpse of a ghostly figure in the trees. And I do kind of get that. There's definitely this freshness, this crispness to this fragrance. So I'm imagining like this crisp, cold air, and you know, the dense trees, and you see this sort of glowing, transparent white figure. I get that from it. But also, I really get this kind of cold rock ocean quality from this. And I'm not really thinking like a warm ocean, not a beachy fragrance whatsoever, but I'm thinking more cold waves hitting the rock and sort of the sea spray and the driftwood. And there's like this, definitely a cold element to this, whether it's oceany cold or wooded cold. And I think it's so neat. So I kind of feel like this is another one that I'm like, oh yeah, spooky season. I could wear this fall time and be like, oh, it's your witchy fragrance. At the same time, I think it's like cooling and refreshing in the summer as well, that cold ocean spray. And this is the one I think probably out of all of them might lean a little more masculine, but I still think it's unisex. I enjoy it on myself, but I do think a lot of men would really like this. So that is Ghost Tree. But that is it, you guys. Those are my 5 Fulton and Roark fragrances. And I just really, really appreciate and like this brand. I know there's some chatter out there. I kind of mentioned it with the Calle Ocho. Like, is this a dupe brand? Are they doing their own thing? And I think the more time I spend with this brand, the more I really appreciate it and see that they are very unique. They've carved out their own vibe and mood that I could smell one of their fragrances, I think, blindfolded now and know that's probably Fulton and Roark. And not every fragrance house has their own identity like that. So I don't think they're getting enough credit. I think more people need to get their nose on them and really spend the time with their fragrances. And I personally just really, really appreciate and love this house. I thank you guys so much for watching today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Be nice, please. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping, and smelling fabulous. Bye.